Hi, good afternoon. Welcome back to our final session in this year's 2024 Housing Counseling Virtual Conference, Promoting Community and Driving Change. I'm Shauna LaRue-Marai with the ICF team who has joined the Office of Housing Counseling to deliver this for you this entire week. This session is the closing with the Office of Housing Counseling leadership. And we are so excited to continue the conversation on CVent even after the conference, which we'll mention toward the end of this session. The community boards will continue through next week. And before we hand it over to our leaders in housing counseling, we wanted to take you back to Mentimeter. And we thought, we're going to ask you, please tell us about your reflections from the conference this week. And we want to hear anything that's on your mind at this point. And this is our nod to our beginning where we talked about our theme for the conference in terms of driving that change. So just what are your reflections from the conference? Please tell us everything. And we'll revisit this in a few minutes once we have David and Terry. So I'm enjoying the responses so far, so keep them going. So it is my pleasure to welcome David Berenbaum, the Deputy Assistant Secretary for the Office of Housing Counseling. And then he will also be joined by Terry Carr, the Associate Deputy Assistant Secretary in the Office of Housing Counseling.
Thank you so much, Shauna. And I'd like to thank you and the entire ICF team for working with our colleagues in the Office of Housing Counseling to put together what, from all the feedback on the boards as well as via email, has been a tremendously successful event. And it's really so interesting looking at your reflections as an audience. Terry, I'd like to invite you on with me, and I'll just share some of my thoughts, initial thoughts, and then invite you to join me. But wow, words like hopeful for the future, interesting topics, innovative and inspiring, all of this feedback is terrific. And, at the end of the program, I just want to give you a heads up. Shauna will invite you to give some feedback as well so that we can think about next year and planning and get your thoughts about how this year went more officially. But my reflections on the program has been, first, how it really celebrated our strong working relationship, our partnership, meaning the Office of Housing Counseling, with all of you, the industry practitioners, our mutual commitment to serving our communities, to promoting affordable housing, sustainable home ownership, to work with consumers who are at risk. I felt a lot of excitement and momentum in all of the boards and the question and answers during the sessions, particularly with regard to the awareness campaign and some of our efforts to take housing counseling to the next level, where we're talking about sort of our work as social enterprises, where we're doing work, in real estate, or we're doing work for fee for service. Wasn't that an interesting discussion under the future of home ownership discussion we had? I know everyone's enjoying what is the First Steps to Housing Counseling Day. I suspect Terry may chat more about that. But then there are also a lot of real issues, what I'll call the issues of the day. I mean, I was really, really impressed by the discussion that we had. Frankly, a lot of candor about the impact, our concerns around the recent real estate broker fee commission settlement issues. Dr. Rose really called it as she saw it, raising very significant fair housing concerns about affordable home ownership. And there were lots of sessions just like that were quite real. And I want to thank everyone as well for your feedback as we move forward on the model standards, the best practices discussion, because we're going to open that wide open now. And we can't wait for you to raise your hand, step up, and volunteer for some of the committees that are going to be created. Terry, let me throw it your way. What are some of your thoughts about the conversations?
Sure. Amazing. It was an amazing conference. And I think we did an excellent job of kind of balancing what's happening within the industry and what's happening within the Office of Housing Counseling and really dealing with the issues of the day, which are the kinds of issues that counselors face, right, on a day-to-day basis. I was particularly happy that we were able to spend some time talking about some of the stresses that counselors face. Whenever we come together as a group, I'm always struck by the important role housing places in everyone's lives. And by virtue of that, counselors end up dealing with so many other things. I was listening to this session on dealing with housing people who are at risk, unhoused and at-risk populations. And you're not just helping people find a home, but you're helping them deal with mental health issues, and you're helping them deal with disability issues. And so there's a whole suite of services that generally counselors are either providing or having to connect people to in order to do their job. And so I think it's really extraordinary, the work that counselors do. And I'm happy that through this conference, we are able to shed light on the work, but also to kind of help people understand just how much of a nucleus counselors are in the community. And I think that's evidenced by some of the other sessions, like the session the changing real estate session, or the session on housing trends, or the session on affordable housing, right? So it becomes very clear that counselors are unique, play a really unique role in the community in terms of the way they are able to help people access so many different kinds of services and meet so many needs.
Yeah. And I also enjoy, Terry, that we celebrate movers and shakers in the housing counseling industry. I mean, we had so many wonderful subject matter experts who are leaders not only at their agency or in the work that we do as an industry, but they're engaging with the Mortgage Bankers Association, they're MISMO. I mean, so many different areas where we see our colleagues just being engaged and changing the how we can collaborate across the entire industry.
I'd be remiss.
Go ahead.
Well, I'd be remiss if I didn't say how inspired I was about some of the conversation about Let's Make Home the Goal. I thought the Deputy Secretary's announcement of our partnership with Zillow is extraordinarily exciting. And I bring that up because it's just a testament to what a commitment we as an office have made to elevating the profession and making sure people are aware of the services that counselors can offer, and that they should be taking advantage of them. And now that interest rates have dropped, hopefully there'll be even more interest in home ownership and more interest in seeking out your local housing counselor.
Yeah, Terry, I'm actually glad you noted what's happening, of course, during our entire conference with the federal rate being dropped. There are headlines across the country in major newspapers about a rush to purchase now because of the lower rates. But let me also raise a red flag, or really an opportunity for the housing counseling community. There also are likely to be a very large number of consumers looking into refinance, both with conventional loans, forward loans, and reverse loans. And the housing counseling community, I believe, plays a very significant role, because refinances for many may not be the right option, particularly if they recently obtained their mortgage, because some of the associated fees with a refi could actually sort of drive down the net benefit associated with refinancing. And I think it will be in our interest, and I think the Office of Housing Counseling will move in this direction, to provide some new resources to share with consumers about when is the right time to consider refinance. And if interest rates continue to drop, I suspect many will rightfully refinance, but there are some where it just may not be the best time to do it. And we need to correctly counsel those consumers. One more thing, and then I'm going to invite our colleagues, the directors, really the rock stars who run our program, to join us. And that is, I want to thank everyone who attended. We had over 2,000 practitioners registered to attend the conference this year. Please help us spread the word to all of your colleagues. I mean, we know there are more than 6,000 people in the field. I mean, more than 4,000 counselors alone. And we would love to have everyone benefit from the discussions and be part of the colloquy here next year. So please tell your colleagues, invite your colleagues to join us next year. And of course, in all of our webinars and programs as we move forward. So that said, let me invite our colleagues, our directors, Jerry Mayer, the Director of the Office of Capacity Building, and Brian Siebenlis, the Director of Policy and Grant Administration of the Office of Policy and Grant Administration, and Keisha Wright, our Director of Office of Oversight and Accountability, to join us. All right, I see everyone. All right, so, we have some great fun coming our way because we're going to involve all of our audience to help us discuss some of our, discussion items, what they would like to hear about. But really quickly, if each of you could share one item that particularly impressed you from the conference that you heard that you thought really resonated, either with you or perhaps the industry, our audience, whatever you think. Let's start, Brian, with you.
Thank you, David. Hi, everyone. Well, I really love the whole kind of guiding theme of the conference, driving change. I love the specific session, adapting to change. It it felt like the right guiding principle, and it feels like the guiding principle in OHC under David and Terry's leadership, just antennas up on what's happening around us, how do we need to adapt and change to innovate and improve the impact of the program. So I would say that was probably my favorite session, the adapting to change. That had Melissa Noe and Lot Diaz and Lindsay and Terry Redmond and a few people, I think. So that was probably a highlight for me. I also loved, I know you said one, but I just wanted to throw in another. I love the mental health session. I just like how thoughtful that was to put that in, and it's a stressful job, and we're dealing with high stakes people's lives and trying to transform lives for the better, and sometimes it can be tremendously stressful. And I just felt so sort of thoughtful and comprehensive that was included as a session. I really appreciated that.
Yes, thank you, Brian. And Keisha, I'm going to take a little bit of a liberty. I'll share with everyone that during the first day of the program, I reached out to Keisha and we were chatting about some normal business. But I asked Keisha, what did you think about, the opening, my remarks, the acting secretary? And this gets to Keisha's commitment to everything we do. Keisha was very pleased that we spoke about the importance of what the office does, oversight and accountability. And of course, because we were talking about program reviews and other work that the office does, but she doubled down and focused in on the importance of how we work collaboratively, provide technical assistance, and how we want every organization to succeed. And Keisha, I really respected your point that you made there that day. And of course, that was the balance I was looking for as well. But that's really the commitment we as an office bring to our agencies. Let me toss it your way.
Yeah, thank you, David. Thank you, David. Good afternoon, everyone. Yeah, David's actually right. I'm, not just me, but just the whole team within OHC and, especially the Office of Oversight and Accountability. We're just, committed to providing a service, to the agencies, as David said, not only regarding the performance reviews, but to ensure that our policies and procedures are, understood and how we can work together to accomplish our goals for the benefit of our consumers. So for me, in regard to the conference, I really loved the session in regard to availability of affordable housing, with the innovative policies. There's a lot of, new construction. I actually live in Greensboro right now, North Carolina. So there's a lot of different, new builders, new buildings, manufactured housing, tiny homes. So I really thought that session was really, really interesting just in regard to what's available out there to purchase now, especially with the rates, as you guys have indicated, that's going down. So I think that's a great opportunity for us, not only for the council and agencies, but for us as HUD as well. In addition to that, I would just like to say, for me, it's also the knowledge, the dedication, and the commitment by HUD's leadership with the acting secretary Todman and Commissioner Gordon, as well as yourself, David, and Terry. Our leadership provides OHC the opportunity to actually partner with our amazing counseling agencies and our industry stakeholders. This conference really allows us all to just share and collaborate our efforts so that we can continue to learn from each other for the benefit of our diverse communities. So I'm really excited about all of the different sessions that took place and the collaboration and just us sharing of ideas and just a wealth of knowledge from everyone during the conference. So thank you, David.
Oh, Keisha, thank you. And of course, Jerry and his team are working with ICF. I'll describe it as wholly responsible for all of the program and what you have been seeing over the past few days. So Jerry, your thoughts, please.
Oh, well, I have to agree, with both Brian and Keisha on the highlights for the conference. And I'd like to, add the technology session with the Davids, David Young and David Valdez was really interesting to me. Always looking for technological solutions, to some of our counseling issues. But I think it's important that we acknowledge the production team, especially that worked on this. Starting with ICF, Shauna and her team over there are just fantastic and really pulled this together for a great event for our housing counselors. And then secondly, the HUD team led by Tammy Dunn and her folks who have been working on this conference with ICF for almost a year and will be going right back into production on next year's conference right away. Brimming with ideas and largely feedback from our housing counselor participants. Keep that feedback coming on CVent. We use it to on training for you for throughout the year and also for next year's conference as well. So looking forward to more feedback from everybody.
Thank you so much, Jerry. So Mentimeter voting is going on right now where you'd like us to focus in on. And before I talk about that, I'd like to just also invite you to think about our regional meetings and perhaps on David's Corner. Of course, we have upcoming meetings that I've shared or spoken about. We don't have the dates yet, but we're going to be in Detroit. We're going to be in Baltimore. We're going to be in Miami. Would like to know where else you would like us to visit, to engage with you on all of your regional issues and really have candid, meaningful conversations on how we can take everything to scale together and grow the program, reach more consumers. And as well, if there are particular topics that you would like us to have in mind, please put that into your thoughts as well. All right, so let's take a look about what you would like to hear about. So number one, new tools and training. The modernization rule, it just switched. Model industry standards is second, then the modernization rule, followed very closely by counselor certification. And it appears more and more people are still voting. But Jerry, why don't you talk a little bit about some of the new tools that we're looking at and some of the ones we recently rolled out? Because what I found is a lot of people are not aware of them.
Oh, yeah, sure, David. We're constantly, of course, building new training syllabus for our housing counselors and also developing new tools for them to utilize. Recently, we put out a new toolkit on disaster housing counseling. Today's listserv points to that, and I encourage everyone to take a look at that, especially since we are in hurricane and fire season right now. We're also working with our training NOFO or Notice of Funding Opportunity grantees, and those are organizations like NeighborWorks or NCRC or Rural Community Assistance Corporation, to name just three. I think there's about 7 of them now, to work with our housing counselors and provide training to them with continuing education credit, of course, so that housing counselors can be up to date on the very latest techniques of housing counseling. And we're looking at rolling out new training, especially in the wake of the interest rate reductions. We're thinking that perhaps some training on refinances and homeownership counseling, taking into account any new programs that are out there or new techniques, would be something that our counselors would certainly appreciate and would help our clients a lot. So, those are the kind of things that we're really looking at on the training front.
Yeah, and there's so many new resources on the HUD Exchange that have been developed to help people become a HUD certified or HUD approved organization, or how we've updated the entire approach to having the certification on a exam and materials on one site now. And I'll also celebrate what we have done with regard to translating into additional languages. And again, stay tuned for the handbook announcement. It's imminent. Brian, anything with regard to the issue that you'd like to share?
I first just think Jerry and his team and the Office of Housing Counseling are just doing a wonderful job with the technical assistance and training that's available. You know, if we time machine back 10 years, we were not as professional and helping the industry like we are now in such a fantastic way. And you know, I encourage all the housing counseling agencies to utilize those tools. You know, I like hearing sort of finger on the pulse of changes in the market and adapting the curriculum to that. And that doesn't surprise me because you know, that's what Jerry and his team are very smart in their approach. So I think great stuff, and just keep utilizing those resources. This conference is a great example, but there's so much more training and other resources being made available through Jerry and his team and all of OHC. It's fantastic.
Yeah, and Brian, something I picked up during the home ownership panel where Melissa from your team was presenting on the new home ownership initiative grant, and the development of the negotiated fixed fee, which in the private sector often is referred to as a fee for service. There was a lot of interest in that and a lot of curiosity. Now, behind the scenes, we're actually negotiating that with the grantees right now. But that process, which is being done with a major vendor or subcontractor, Almaden Company, who we work with, is something that everyone was really, really interested in. When we're through, launching all of this great, exciting initiative that's going to realize thousands of new homeowners and, more importantly, give us the data to show the industry's impact, I think that may be another area to help organizations build their programs to share sort of the model or the rubric, how we develop this process. Do you think that would be a possibility?
Absolutely, and necessity, you know, and I think we're learning lessons as we go through this process, and it's going to help us provide better guidance and technical assistance for sure to help agencies. And you know, our goal is to create sort of a new model or approach that's going to help agencies leverage other funding sources beyond HUD. And so we're completely determined to improve on our OHC side and the counseling agency side on that whole process, and justifying that fee and using it to market yourself to be savvy and get funding from other sources that might feel more comfortable giving money in that way. And so we are full speed ahead on that front, and there's going to be great training and education as we grow that initiative and that model and best practice, and try to make it more and more widespread, both with HUD grant opportunities and other funding opportunities.
Yeah, that's wonderful. I fully agree with that vision as well. So I see modernization, Brian, was the next topic that people are interested in. I think one of the questions out there that I saw on social media was effective date, and how should groups balance the needs of delivery of service in their communities? Any thoughts about that?
Yeah, thank you, David. Before I was just talking about the change theme to the conference and the adapting to change session. The home ownership initiative, NOFA, is a good example of antennas up to needed changes and being innovative and aggressive. We published a handbook. The media campaign is another great example of changes that are occurring. And I would just say it's a good segue into the modernization rule. It's just another example, thanks to the environment David and Terry are creating, where they're pushing us to be innovative and look for new opportunities to improve this program. And we're proud that there was a final rule published modernizing the delivery of housing counseling services. It was published on the 16th this week. The effective date, though, isn't until October 16th, 24. So, but you seem to be pleased with the rule from the feedback I'm hearing already. I also like that the final rule was published without change from the proposed rule. So that gave me good confidence that we got solid feedback from stakeholders like you all in the audience, and our team of policy analysts did a good job with this rule, and it changed it didn't change really from the proposed rule. So that's great. And basically, some of the main ideas here are to, for us to have our antennas up to how these services can be most effectively delivered. And it amends our regulations to allow housing counseling agencies to use alternative communication methods. And that might be sort of virtual meeting tools like Zoom, like we're on now, or Microsoft Teams or Google Workspace, but in lieu of providing in-person services. So if a counseling agency decides to no longer offer in-person services, we want to make sure those services are available in person to individuals and households who prefer that. So if the client requests in-person counseling, the rule provides that there's still an obligation to refer that client to an agency that does so, because for many that might be the preferred format. But the rule is trying to be sensitive to increasing accessibility to counseling for people who might have difficulty obtaining in-person services. And maybe some of those challenges are linguistic, or their physical, or their health issues, or there's other barriers, transportation, childcare costs. We're trying to be sensitive to that and provide as much flexibility for these valuable services to be available to households. So, the rule, I'm also proud that it amends our regulations so that agencies no longer need to maintain multiple facilities. Instead, it clarifies that agencies are required to maintain at least one facility. And I think the central theme here, and that I love, and that I think a good guiding principle for our rulemaking and other efforts in OHC, is how do we look for ways for cost savings? How do we, there's limited resources out there. How do we make sure they're being spent in the most valuable way possible? And that's on these valuable counseling and education services. So the rule helps agencies have the flexibility to right size their geographic footprint and right size the costs that they face. It permits agencies to conduct counseling at all alternate locations, so flex office spaces, community centers, other nonprofits, as long as privacy and confidentiality standards are maintained. So this rule goes a long way toward making these services more accessible, a lot more flexibility and cost savings for the agencies. So we're gonna look forward to seeing how this is implemented. We're gonna look forward to providing, answering questions about it and providing TA around it, like we talked about.
I have to ask you to wrap because we have limited time, but that was all great information. Thank you.
All right, sorry. Good.
No, that's okay. It's exciting stuff. And we're going to be watching this very carefully because we want to make sure we continue to expand the number of consumers we serve, but we meet them where they're coming from and offer their counseling of choice, the modality they prefer. So model industry standards, Jerry and Terry, I think we had a very frank conversation about it. And what more can you share with our folks?
Well, some of the feedback that we've received from housing counselors is very fundamental. I hear the question frequently. I'm already a HUD certified housing counselor. Why do we need industry standards? And to answer that question, that's come up a lot is with an analogy. Teachers do something not too dissimilar. You know, they teach like homebuyer education. They teach in a classroom. They have a teaching certificate that allows them to teach. But a teacher needs that foundational curriculum in order to provide education to their students. And so the model industry standards pretty much are that curriculum that our housing counselors will be using going forward. And it hasn't been updated in more than 20 years. And there's been so many new programs and so many new initiatives, and housing counseling techniques have evolved over that period of time. 20 years ago, there was barely an internet. Now we're all conversing over it on a daily basis, and we can with our clients as well. So the model industry standards will seek to address all of those concerns and developments and evolutions in the housing counseling industry over the last few years. And the best part of it is that is an industry forward, HUD supporting approach. Feedback from housing counselors and lenders and realtors and government on all levels is being taken into account with the standards. And the very next step to look out for is how housing counselors and others can participate in the industry standards committee. And that will be tremendous, because they are the ones who are going to carry this ball forward. And our housing counseling community will have the opportunity to be leaders in this. And it's really exciting, and really looking forward to the whole process and having great standards at the end.
A quick aside, Jerry, there's a question on in the Q&A chat about updating the certification exam, and we just actually refreshed it. Could you share a quick response to that?
Oh, sure. You know, we just rolled out our exam, I think it was a month or so ago. We brought it out in 3 new languages, Mandarin Chinese and Vietnamese and Korean. All of our study guide materials have been updated. So now, you know, you can take the exam in a total of 5 languages, including English and Spanish. We rolled out a new testing website where we integrated the HECM exam and the housing counselor certification exam on the same website. And we're working on further improvements to that website, including moving to a new .gov URL address for the site and bringing it closer into the HUD family of websites. So more to
Thank you. Thank you so much, Terry. So Terry, let me invite you into the conversation, and then we're going to go to Keisha with her thoughts of, you know, the future of performance reviews and anything you'd like to share, Keisha. But Terry, I'm also going to give you the liberty of Terry's choice. You can take us anywhere you'd like to, okay?
Okay, that sounds great. Let me just add that I think updating the national industry standards is a really important industry effort, and I'm pleased that we've already identified some areas that we think need additional focus and attention. So things like, you know, should we be talking about climate? I can see from this conference and from the conversations we have with many stakeholders that there are many areas around which other folks would like to see counselors provide education, right? So the NAR settlement is another example. And so these are things I think that we will be able to take a deeper look at when we start to look at the updating the standards. Deeper dive, any area I want. Again, I definitely want to just flag for people next week's Housing Counselor Day, because that is our attempt and our goal to celebrate you as housing counselors. We want you to take advantage of the materials we have provided. They are on the boards here as part of this campaign. But the most important thing is that you recognize that we value the service you provide, and that we are doing our best to make sure other people recognize and value the service that you provide. So just want to make sure and give a shout out for Housing Counselor Day.
Thank you, Terry. And Keisha, I just want to do a shout out to all of our points of contact in the Office of Housing Counseling for the excellent work they do under your leadership. And, you know, we are working to really ensure the quality of the work they do and consistency. But really, we don't know what the audience was thinking about performance reviews. So perhaps take it anywhere you'd like to.
Sure. So first, let me just say, I'm just so excited that I get to talk about compliance because, it's just so amazing. It's like my middle name and I love it. So I was just so excited to see so many of you, put that out there that you just want to hear a little bit about the performance reviews. And just compliance is indeed a vital part of our housing counseling program. But like I said in the opening, that we are committed to providing a service to you. The oversight and accountability team is amazing in what they do. And they so look forward to coming out there, to seeing you guys in person, to ensure the quality and effective counseling services, that you guys as the counselors provide, and your what you're giving to them on a daily basis to your consumers through, the monitoring and the certification of our HUD approved counseling agencies. So we were just really excited that this year, hopefully you've noticed that we've been, coming out to the agencies a little bit more. We were able to have the funding and travel ability to do that. We've got a lot of positive feedback that you guys actually enjoyed seeing us in person. My colleague, Phyllis Ford, that I know a lot of you know, she's been actually out and about on a wellness campaign that we've actually decided that was very important to do, so we can go out there and actually meet with you as managers, to talk to you, to see actually what it is that you need, from us, so we can just provide a better service, to you, other than just following policy and procedure. So again, like I said, we want to work with you. We want to hear from you, and we just want to make sure that we collaborate with you to make sure that you understand, the need of the policies and procedures, but to make sure that if there's anything that we can get, if there's anything that you need from us, that we are here to provide that service to you. So I'll leave it there, David, and just say hopefully in FY25 that you'll see us on the ground even more. And please know that I'm always available for any questions or concerns, recommendations, or comments, so we can make our relationship better in the future.
Keisha, thank you for sharing that. And our goal is to, please invite us to your events. We'd love to participate in programs in the field with you, celebrating your good work. And also when we have programming or when we're visiting, we're listening to you. This is how we can adapt and change, and we learn from you. And really what's happening in the field are the best examples to share nationwide. And that's our goal, to elevate the profession and to reach 3 million households in the next few years, a year. And I believe we can do it. The stars are aligning. The awareness campaign, more down payment assistance programs, innovative mortgage products, more servicers and securitizers recognizing the impact of post-modification, sharing more information, the impact of our work in the form of reports. It's a very, very exciting time right now. Now I'm going to step back for a moment because there has been a heated competition on the CVent leaderboard, and it's time to call it. So first, let me congratulate the winner of our bingo competition earlier in the week. It was kind of fun. I hope everyone enjoyed it. It was light after a long day of our conference. So congratulations again to Cynthia Webb. Cynthia is affiliated with Nexa Mortgage. Kudos to you for your knowledge base of the Office of Housing Counseling. Pardon me, my phone is ringing. I just want to make sure I shut it off so I don't interfere at all with the discussion going on. My apologies. But the leaderboard, and I hope everyone enjoyed CVent. The boards were very active. There was a lot of great participation. We're going to take all of the suggestions really to heart as we move forward with the program and future trainings. I particularly like right now the recommendation to look at healthcare issues and partnerships and the relationship between housing counseling and healthcare providers. Many people may not be aware, but in the Office of Housing at HUD is also an Office of Healthcare Programs. And HUD plays a very active role in the securitization, origination of financing for healthcare facilities in our target communities as well. So I think that was a great suggestion. Thank you. And we'll take a look at it because really, it gets to affirmatively furthering fair housing. A healthy community has not only meets the affordable housing needs, but also meets all the needs of the community, including healthcare. And I know some of the health insurance companies are looking to housing counseling organizations because often, unfortunately, with prolonged hospitalization or the impact of the cost of hospitalization, it has an impact on the consumers who we serve. So thank you, by the way, just saw that recommendation in the chat. But I'm going to go to the game board now, and I'm going to get the latest scores. I've pressed enter. Here we go. And first, I'd like to congratulate Patty Ellams for, wow, 3,600 and change points. She is our second runner-up in the leaderboard. Then, oh my goodness, Evelyn Sanchez and Jackie Davis, they've been going back and forth all afternoon. Our runner-up, second place, is Jackie Davis. And our leaderboard winner this year for, my goodness, participating on all the boards, listening to all the sessions, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera, is Evelyn Sanchez. Our first and second place players are both from the great state of Pennsylvania, and Evelyn is from the great state of Connecticut, and she's with the Connecticut Housing Finance Authority. And let me look where Jackie is from so I can also celebrate that. But I believe also, yes, Salisbury Neighborhood Housing Services. So congratulations to both of you. So I want to thank you all for attending this year. I want to say moving forward, we look forward to continuing to actively engage with you and to realize our shared vision for housing counseling, both as an industry and also implementing all of the bold actions that you're taking to realize your missions. And we at HUD are also trying to take to realize HUD's mission of meeting the needs of residents across the country. As Acting Secretary Todman says, we envision a nation that will be a stronger, more prosperous, and more equitable country as a result of our collective activities. So as we wind down, Shauna, I'm going to turn it back to you for our final questions on Mentimeter. Thank you, Shauna, and again to the team, and thank you, everybody.
Yes, it's our absolute pleasure, David. So thank you all so much. And I loved hearing all of your reflections and really appreciate working in partnership with an office that is so collegial and deeply cares about the work that housing counseling agencies are doing every single day and their certified counselors. So we always like to ask this question about what do you need in terms of technical assistance and training? So in 1 to 3 words, we just want to know what's most important at the moment. And these are topics. So we're looking for topics. So far I'm seeing a lot on fee for service that's getting bigger and bigger. I also see foreclosure mitigation, also coming in client management systems. So really want to make sure that we hang on for another minute or so. We want to grab all the topics that you need, and then this helps the Office of Housing Counseling design and deliver technical assistance and training or tools. Maybe it's a tool that you need. So this is your opportunity, and we always like to do this question because, as you know, the Office of Housing Counseling is always listening to the needs that you have and what you would like to see them focus on over the next year. I am also now seeing post-purchase and 9902 reports is also getting incredibly big at the moment. And that was one session that I was in another one this week. But I know that 9902 session on reporting was very well attended. So that may be an outgrowth of that. Would love to support you all more further with your 9902 reporting. I'm also seeing financial resources is also getting a little bit larger for me, at least. So definitely let us know like what would be the most helpful for you to have some training and technical assistance. Reporting is also coming in a little bit larger too, probably neck and neck with 9902 reporting. I'm seeing also some other like reverse mortgage. I know that was something that David is going to speak at the NRMLA conference, it sounds like, over the next couple of weeks. I can't remember the date of it, but reverse mortgage, there has to be a lot more counselors that are providing reverse mortgage housing counseling out there. There is so much need in that, in both origination as well as default. So I'm delighted to see that that's getting a little bit bigger. I see also affordable housing as well, financial resources. A small little bit here, I see ADU training, if I'm reading correctly. I don't have my readers on, maybe I should. But that session on accessory dwelling units and having the expertise of Brian Fox at FHA, if you missed that session, please, please, please go back. Okay, well, I think we have lots of great topics here. Yeah, thank you so much for the hearts. I feel them. We also wanted you to provide your feedback on the conference generally. So this is your time to go ahead and fill this out about whether or not you thought the event was great, good content flow. And then, of course, as David said, we always want to hear what your recommended changes are. And so please keep those in mind. There will be an open-ended text field for recommended changes that I will share after this. So, so great. I'm glad to see that good content, good flow of presentations. I really appreciated Terry's comment, and I know she gave a lot of direction, as did David, into what we were covering this week, but we did try to strike that balance between content that's fresh in terms of the industry and what's happening, and really wanted to shine a spotlight on some of the more recent settlements around appraisals, as well as the commission real estate commissions as well. So there's been a lot of content this week that was covered, balanced with reporting, balanced with trying to create more affordable housing, balanced with, you know, so many different things that, as I like to say, y'all are like the Jill and Jack of all trades. As housing counseling agencies, you have to know a little bit about everything in terms of housing, which is another reason why I revere so many of you and the work that you do. It's very, very important. So I'm just going to let this go, maybe like another 30 seconds, and would love to grab some additional feedback that folks have. So again, we're always listening, and we always want to make sure that this lands where it needs to for you all. So we'll let it go maybe 30% more. So it was really nice to hear that folks enjoyed the week. And also I heard my name, which there aren't too many Shaunas in the world, but there's a whole team at ICF that works behind the scenes with us every single day. So Lindsay Burns is my deputy, as well as Kalisha Jackson, Andrew Fakuda, Marissa Scholler, Mahima Gupta was very much a part of this year, Emily Rome, Maggie Klein. We just have so many people on our team. And then Chantel Key on the logistics side of things. She's my counterpart. She's also a director and oversees all the logistics support around the Zoom platform, the CVent platform, et cetera. And she has amazing folks like Kate Steger, as well as John Panetti, Sean De Alameda. We really appreciate all of you folks. So, so it's a huge team, and we're delighted to be here. So let's go ahead and let's find out, you know, if you have any recommendations. Please note this will be live recommendations. So, and you're character limited, but any thoughts that you have, any ideas that you have, it could be both content, it could also be format. So anything that you would like to share would be very, very helpful with us. And we'll let this go maybe like another 30 seconds to a minute. We will still keep this live. We will still keep this open even after we wrap up today. Okay, seeing that at least somebody would like to hear more from housing counseling agencies. We always appreciate all the peer-to-peer presentations. That sounds like, you know, exactly what we want to do in the future in terms of striking a balance. Training on fees for service from lenders. So yeah, maybe having some lenders come back, that would be amazing. We have lenders in the audience, but I think having them speak about those lender agreements, I think sounds really helpful. Testimonials from housing counseling agencies. I do know that one of HUD's partners, Red Carrot, has also been working on some testimonials. I think that you'll hear more about that, but we have long wanted to put testimonials into this meeting. So that sounds like a good idea. Many of you work with the U.S. Department of Agriculture or USDA, and having them talk about their loan packaging and how you can become a loan packager too, as part of your agency. That sounds like an amazing idea. Local advocacy issues and things like that. I think that would be helpful. And then breakout sessions with other counselors. So peer-to-peer time, I'm also saying these are really, really wonderful ideas. So please keep them all coming. So I'm going to take us back here. And again, thank you all so much for attending. It's been an amazing week. I've learned so much from all of you. And please continue the chat on the community boards. They'll still be open for another week, and we would love to hear from you. And certainly keep in touch with HUD. Make sure you work with your HUD point of contact. They are there to support you and help you in terms of this grant program. And keep in touch with HUD at housing.counseling@hud.gov. And then the Housing Counseling Today blog, if you hadn't seen it, hot off the presses is Housing Counselor Day, which is next week on September 26th. And I hope you are all going to give yourself time and attention and celebrate that you're a housing counselor on that day, and really appreciate you and everything you do for households across the country. So have a great day, everyone. And thank you so much. We'll see you later. Bye.